You know, if you've been following this channel for a while, you have probably heard us talk about the fact that the Walt Disney Company is in a real hard time right now trying to figure out how they're going to buy Hulu. Yes, Disney has bought big brands in the past, including Fox, but some of those big brands came with big debt, and that has put the company at a disadvantage when it comes to buying the streaming service that they want most. Iger has essentially already said they're buying the thing, but they don't have the money to do it. Now, where are they going to find the funds? Well, it turns out that Disney has a play up their sleeve, a card ready to put on the table, and it may just shock you. Welcome back, folks, to another beautiful day here on the WDW Pro channel. So happy to have you joining us wherever you are, whether it is with your kids in the car, whether it is working out at the gym, wherever you may be today. We hope you're having a beautiful day and a wonderful time. And if you're not, hang in there. Skies will turn blue once more for you, we believe. But a company that is struggling to get those blue skies to open up once more, and by the way, perhaps they shouldn't have gotten rid of Zippity Doo-Dah. Mr. Bluebird may be pooping on their shoulder now. But that company is Disney, and Disney is trying to buy the company called Hulu, the streaming service. They already own 2/3 of it, but they need that last third, and that is owned by Comcast. Disney wants it bad. They want it real bad. They want to connect it to their Disney Plus service, which is underperforming compared to Hulu. Only problem is Disney needs money. So what is the company to sell? Well, we found out finally in an interview with CNBC. Iger let the cat out of the bag and told what it is that Disney has that they could sell. And well, it is quite surprising unless you've been on this channel. Let's dive into the conversation now that we had on the Pro Show live this past Thursday and hear what this panel had to say about how Iger is going to scrounge some money out of the couch. Valiant, we got to talk about this. This is some of the bigger news, I suppose, and perhaps this is one of those places where Bob Iger may have slipped up and been truthful, not telling us that it's just too hot in Florida and that's why the crowds have vanished. But in regards to how they're going to get this company some money to buy Hulu, here's what we've got. This is the transcript from CNBC.com. Faber is the interviewer who does not ask too many hard questions, but here's what he's got for it. Faber asks, well, let's stop there for a second and just let me ask you about it. We're talking, I guess, ABC, the network, the stations, but then the cable networks as well. Iger says, yes, correct. Faber. FX, Nat Geo, is it possible you would look to sell them? Iger says, we're going to be expansive. I think if you can interpret what that word means. You know, we're just getting at that work. But we have to be open-minded and objective about the future of those businesses. And then Faber says, meaning that they're not core to Disney. That's a big question. And finally, he asks a good one. Iger says, they may not be core to Disney. Yeah, there's clearly creativity and content that they create that is core to Disney, but the distribution model, the business model that forms the underpinning of that business, and that has delivered great profits over the years, is definitely broken. And we have to call it like it is, and that's part of the transformative work we're doing. It sounds to me, Valiant, like Iger is open to offloading ABC, offloading National Geographic, open to offloading FX channels. We've been pondering considering what it would be that Iger would look at dismissing in order to try to get money to purchase Hulu. Now we're getting an idea of what that is. But Valiant, dropping ABC is a very difficult task for the company for a variety of reasons, and not least of which is related to live sports. Walk us through why Disney is so desperate to sell some of these assets and what might be some of the pitfalls.
Well, you and I had a nice conversation on the phone earlier, and we talked about this, and I think there's some truth to both of our theories. I think to one regard, yes, Disney would like to lighten the load on its balance sheet, as it were, have some more cash on hand, offload actually valuable assets they can get some real capital for, like an ABC, like an FX, like a Nat Geo, things like that. But notice what Iger's words in that response is that those delivery systems, the method of distribution, is not core. And ergo, the channels themselves may not be core, but there is a lot of creative content on those distribution systems that are. So what that suggests to me is, like we were talking about on the phone, is that if they were to divest themselves of these linear broadcast or even over-the-air broadcasts like ABC, they're not going to send live sports out the door with them. guaranteed. Sports is very much, live sports is very much going to remain a hallmark at Disney. Iger was very clear on that, saying that he was opposed to spinning off ESPN in this interview. Made that very, very clear. Not opposed to working with partners or bringing in, co-investors to work together to enhance the distribution system of it. And that could mean a lot of things. And I think we're going to find out what some of those things are by the end of this week with this conference going on currently in Sun Valley. But I think they could potentially sell off something like an ABC, sure. But what does that actually look like? What is the value there? Who wants to buy an over-the-air broadcast station? And what is that market? It's very limited. You can't sell it to Comcast. They've already got one. You can't sell it to Paramount. They've already got one. Does Apple out there actually want to buy a linear broadcast system? Probably not. What about Amazon? Maybe, if they got the sports packages with it that Disney doesn't want to give up, obviously. Amazon has made deals. They really want to get live sports. If Disney were to turn around and sell ESPN and ABC and all the sports contracts to go with it, Amazon would do everything in their power to snap that up because they've already got deals with the NFL for Thursday Night Football. They've already got deals with other major league sports systems. So they would go for that, but Disney doesn't want to give that up. And, of course, the big thing is, what would the FTC, and in the case of ABC itself, what would the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, actually do with this? This would be a very long, drawn-out process and probably one that wouldn't be even able to be completed before the Hulu deal. They might have something in principle, but to actually get approval from the government trade organizations and the Federal Communication, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, Valiant, let's follow up on that then. I'm curious, now that Iger has essentially said that these are not core to the company, how do these parts of the company respond now, and what's the morale like behind the scenes when they realize, oh, by the way, you're superfluous to what we do here?
Right, exactly. It's like, what do we feel like? As you mentioned on the phone, you brought up a great point. Disney would probably be fine unloading the news divisions. And I see people in the chat talking about, well, the reach, it's broadcast, it goes everywhere. Y'all are right, but the problem is when they talk about advertising revenues falling back, when they talk about cord cutting, this is what we're talking about. The revenues coming in for ABC and linear broadcast and cable broadcast are collapsing. Disney is obviously very interested to get live sports off of there exclusively and into their own proprietary ESPN streaming. They can't do it yet, but they want to get there as quickly as possible. So that's the problem with it, is that you can't rely on these things long term to actually keep paying the bills. And Disney right now, I think it'd be a good move to try to offload some of these linear broadcast things, keeping the content that is valuable, that is core to them, as Iger says, but offload these assets now while you can actually get some value for them, because they might not be worth much in 5 years.
Right. And the other thing is, obviously those ad deals that are in place for the linear TV networks right now are super lucrative. There's a whole generation of people that are not interested in cord cutting, except if it's the only place that they can get their live sports, and they will begrudgingly go over. And anytime there's a glitch, they're going to hate your guts. I think we all know someone like that. There's obviously a point, and Iger refused to reveal what it is, even though he made it very clear. He has a specific metric in mind for when ESPN needs to be flipped over to that direct-to-consumer model, otherwise known as ESPN Plus, with actual full ESPN functionality. He knows in his own mind where that needs to be, and he's refusing to say what it is. He also said he has strategic partners that he's already talked to. I'm very much wondering who that is, and I bet it's not someone that's just like, oh, well, invest in this. I'm thinking it's probably someone that can actually bring something unique to the table. Iger is really good at the 2 + 2 = 5 kind of mergers, where you can put two things together, in at least by the plan, you can get more stuff out of it. $10 from, I love this name, Kiss My Grits, for $10. If Iger sells ABC, FX, Nat Geo, etc., then what's the point of retaining Hulu? Comcast will likely pull their content from Hulu, so what's left? Will rival networks continue to license their content? Valiant?
If they sell ABC, FX, and Nat Geo, and as we talked about earlier, and keep the core content Like, they're not going to give away the stuff that they made for those channels, at least not the core. That's what's going to go to Hulu. That's what's going to be put there. Comcast could still keep whatever they have on Hulu now if they so chose. Disney would be paying Comcast a fee to have that on there, or they could agree to completely divest each other. I think if Comcast does that, that's going to affect the sale price, right? Because if all of a sudden they pull the shows off of it, well, it changes the pricing structure. They could work. There's a number of different ways this could play out, but Hulu is one of the few streaming services out there that is, although it's hard to tell because they lump all DTC together, but from as best we know, Hulu's actually fairly successful in terms of, it's not Hulu that's costing them $1 billion a quarter, folks. They've got a lot of good ad revenue on there. That's a very strong AVOD system.
Yeah, they have more ad revenue off of their users on Hulu than they do off of Disney Plus. Disney Plus does not have, and also, by the way, Hulu is a cable alternative when you get into the higher levels. That being said, Disney has a current strategy right now. They could sell the content for a certain price, or they could obliterate it for a tax write-off, and they seem to be going for the latter as opposed to the former.
Hulu is one of the most valuable streaming properties that exist in the market right now, and that's why Disney is so keen to get full control over it.
They not Disney Plus.
Yeah, they cannot. You cannot replicate another Hulu that easily. You've got YouTube TV, which is kind of, in terms of strategy and style, it's similar to Hulu in that regard. And then there's not much else out there that really does what that does, because, like Jonas pointed out, we can tie in your cable services, or you basically can subscribe to linear broadcast cable, but via Hulu. That's why, I pay the $7 a month for Hulu. For regular Hulu that's got ads in it, then you've got premium Hulu, and then you've got all your cable channels. Like, if I didn't have Spectrum, or if you didn't have Cox Communications, or if somebody else didn't have whatever cable service or satellite TV service provider that's in your area, then you could use Hulu or YouTube TV. That's what makes this such a unique value proposition for Disney to want to hang on to.
And folks, that is a wrap on the conversation from the Pro Show. Remember that you can catch the Pro Show live Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then you can listen to it 48 hours thereafter. Once that's up, though, it goes into the archives, where only members of the channel can continue to listen to all those archived shows. They're wonderful. They're hilarious, and you don't want to miss out. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, consider clicking the little join button. It's the price of a soda, and you'll get access to all kinds of content. Well, folks, if you wouldn't mind, also drop a comment down below. We care about what you think. We covet your comments. The human mind is the most important and valuable thing in all the universe. You've got one. Share it with us. And wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.